Al-Salam alaikum and Shalom. This is your Prime Minister, Keir Apu-Starmer. You might hear a little noise in the background, and that's because we have the plumber in 10 Downing Street. He's removing the toilet. Not installing a toilet, he's removing the toilet. Barry Stanton, I spoke about him in the previous briefing, has caused a lot of trouble for the British government, and we're not even sure if he's British. Scotland Yard is all over it, and if it turns out that he's American, he's living in America, he will be extradited to Britain, okay? He will be extradited. I can extradite anyone in the world. I could extradite the North Korean leader in the morning if I wanted to, but I wouldn't because he's a communist. So don't think, if you're living in the jungles of Paraguay, that you can get away with insulting the wonderful, wonderful Labour Party here in Britain, because you can't, and you will be extradited. The sun never sets, okay? The sun never sets. But this Barry Stanton, this absolute clown who's caused so much hurt and so much pain to a nation of people, a subcontinent of people, 1.3 billion people, he has caused a shitstorm, quite literally a shitstorm. He has been a peddler of Poo-O-Phobia, okay? Poo-O-Phobia. Now, we want to root out Poo-O-Phobia, and therefore that's why in 10 Downing Street today we are getting rid of the toilet, because toilets are a sign of colonialism. Now, I'm going to get into that in a second, okay? So just bear with me, I will get to it in a second. Starting from next week, all toilets will be removed from government buildings, from bus stations, from train stations, and the like. Okay, this is a sign to India and to the Indians living amongst us that we want you here, and we want to be an open and tolerant society. And that is why we want to make you feel right at home by removing all toilets. Starting from January, if you have a dwelling, you must register your toilet, and we will come and we will remove the toilet. Now, if you try to be a smarty pants and don't register the toilet, and our KGB, sorry, I meant to say our British police find out that you actually have a toilet, your toilet will be removed, and you will also receive a fine and possible imprisonment. So don't be a smarty pants, register your toilet for next year, and we will remove the toilet, because it's all about inclusivity here in Britain, okay? Tolerance and inclusivity. Okay. Now, what else? I have a number of things here, a number of things written down for this briefing. Yes, okay, so some questions have come in. Is it or is it not illegal to defecate in public? So let me be crystal clear. If you need to go and do your number twos, just walk outside, drop your pants and go. Okay, you can go anywhere. No problem at all. It is not a crime, okay? It is not a crime. Now, as a sign, as I say, as a sign of reconciliation with the Indian people, we are today removing the toilet from 10 Downing Street. Now, some people are saying, where am I going to drop my pants if I don't have a toilet? Well, you know, us communists, we don't actually drop our pants when we defecate. We quite simply open our mouths. That's how communists defecate. So, yes, toilets are a sign of slavery. Toilets are a sign of colonialism, and there is no place for them in modern British society, okay? Modern sanitation is a wickedness that the gammon have imposed on the rest of the world. Okay, let me repeat that, because I want to be absolutely clear. Modern sanitation is a wickedness that the gammon imposed on the rest of the world. So what we must do, we must be the first to dismantle modern sanitation. Britain must take a leading role in dismantling modern sanitation. Okay, we communists, we like to dismantle things and then mold them into a sort of grey sludge. It's what we do. But anyway, all toilets will be removed starting from January next year. Now, a lot of people will be saying, they will be complaining, and we'll be listening very, very attentively to those complaints. You can be rest assured. But some people, some idiots, no doubt, will be complaining, and they will be saying, oh my God, there will be a surge of the transmission of diarrheal diseases, such as cholera and dysentery, not to mention typhoid and intestinal worm infections. We hear you, okay? We hear you. But, oh, also polio. Yeah, polio could make a real comeback. And we hear you, you know, we do. We hear you, okay? We're writing down what you're saying. We're taking it down in a little black book. We're listening. But let me be very honest with you. Deadly diseases are part and parcel of living in a diverse and tolerant society, okay? Now, I don't think deadly diseases, I don't know about you, but I don't think deadly diseases are too big a price to pay for having a progressive and inclusive society. Do you? I don't think so. So, let me get back. And by the way, intestinal worms are a wonderful, wonderful way of staying in tip-top shape. Okay, intestinal worms. A lot to be said for the old intestinal worms. All right, we'll move on. Messages yesterday. A lot of messages came in, a lot of confusion about defecating out on the street. One man, he phoned up the local council. Now, this is absolutely an incredible story. You know, it's amazing to think that we've got these knuckle-dragging white working class gammon amongst us still. I'm trying to eradicate them, but they keep popping back up. This guy, this absolute monkey, he contacted the government yesterday, the council, and he complained because he said he found a poo right outside his door. The council member on the phone told him, "Welcome to Britain 2024. The man was not impressed by this, and he continued to mither the government official. The government official told him whatever he was going to do, not to step in the poo, not to scoop it up and throw it away, because in India, the poo, human poo, is sacred. Also cow dung. Cow dung and human poo are sacred. So he was told he could not trifle with the poo that was there on his doorstep. Now, the man, the white monkey, he got very angry on the phone, and he said he was going to scoop it up and throw it in the skip, and that's exactly what he did, because the police rocked up at his door a few hours later. They went to the skip, they found the poo in the skip, and that man has since been arrested and charged, and he now faces 17 years in prison for racism and far-right thuggery. So, to all those out there, if you open your door tomorrow morning and you find a number of poos on the doorstep, or on the driveway, or on the lawn, do not touch them, because they are sacred. They are sacred. And you would be committing an act of terrorism by trifling with the human poos, okay? So, and by the way, doing a poo on your neighbour's doorstep, it helps to create solidarity, and our data tells us that they also increase communal trust. So if we look at it from an Indian perspective, it is far from an insult to drop a few poos on your neighbour's doorstep, because in India it's actually considered the highest compliment you can pay to another person, by shitting right outside the door of their shack. Okay? Furthermore, it should also be spoken about that Britain, our energy source, 20% of it is powered by Vindaloo. So some of you are probably saying we don't need Indians in Britain. Actually, you do, because 20% of your energy comes from Vindaloo. And who makes the Vindaloo? The Indians, okay? So if the Indians leave, that's 20% of our energy supply gone down the drain. Well, there won't be any drains, but you know what I mean, gone. So it's important to make the Indians feel at home. Otherwise, we're going to lose 20% of our energy supply by means of Vindaloo, okay? Now, to make the Indians feel more at home, because we don't want them leaving, we're going to make a few changes in terms of transportation and education. Starting off with buses and trains. Going forward, there will be free spaces on the roofs of the trains and the roofs of the buses. So if you're a person of colour and you don't have money, it will no longer be illegal. Screw health and safety, climb up onto the roof and you're good to go. Okay? Hundreds of people can fit on the roofs of trains and buses. Yes, it's possible 50 people will die on your average train journey, but it's all about inclusivity and tolerance. Furthermore, school buses will be replaced with elephants. The film Octopussy will be mandatory viewing in all schools once a week for the entirety of the school year, as will certain old episodes of South Park. The children's section in libraries will only be stocked with books that contain the character Winnie the Pooh. Okay? I think that's pretty understandable, and I think that's pretty fair. I think it's pretty fair. You'll have to admit, it's pretty fair. Also, next week, to prove that Indian food, Indian cuisine, is healthy and good for your stomach, I'll be sitting down at a table in an Indian restaurant for a photo op and making my assistant wolf down several dishes. Okay, so don't miss that. Now, that is the end of the briefing. I think I've got through a lot. I think I've made the Indian people feel at home. The last briefing was downvoted by several people. Some people said possibly they were from India because they were angry about this Barry Stanton loser. I don't think so. I think they were just far-right bigots. Far-right bigots. And we will find out who downvoted the last briefing. They will be arrested and they will be thrown in prison. Okay? Don't downvote videos. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. So, this is your British Prime Minister, Keir Apu-Starmer. Goodbye, and more importantly, Shalom.